know any different. We're coming out of our sleep state, and we all need to wake up and fight for what we want as people. So,
what do you want?
What do I want? I want freedom. I want a future for my children. And to me, it's all about, you know, it's like, I think see if I can remember it, but government abuse is child abuse. And that's kind of what's happening in our country.
Now, how does this tie into Wall Street?
Wall Street? Corporate greed is what got us here. I mean, we've all grown up greedy. And it's time to rethink that. Because it doesn't work. You know, our earth is finite. We can't overconsume, and that's what we're doing.
We are 99%.
I think I really decided to come down here after I saw some pictures of some folks above the Wall Street sipping champagne and just looking at the protesters, and then some signs that said "We are the 1%." And I just thought, you know, that's like really mocking this effort, and so like I'm just coming down here just to put my body in, in place.
Lost my job, been 2 years now, waiting for the jobs that they've promised when the rich stop being taxed, and I believe the rich need to be taxed, or this will never turn around. I'm marching for myself and for my kids and for the future. So this keeps going, there will not be any.
So what do you think about this connection with Wall Street?
I think it's great. I think it's about time the bankers are recognized as the problem, because they have been the problem. We've seen this since the 60s, the bankers are the problem. And I haven't heard anybody talk about that until now, and I was just so happy to hear that people are realizing it's the banks that are creating the problem today.
I'm marching because I disagree with the tax inequity between the working people and the richest of the rich. So that's why I'm marching.
Okay, thanks.
I'm marching because I don't want my child to grow up in a world where everything gets trumped by money and greed, and human life is second best.
That's pretty straightforward. Do you see a connection with Wall Street?
I think the whole corporate machine is why we're in this situation we're in, with corporation bleeding into government and having the dollar just rule, and democracy is just a puppet show for us to sit, watch, and not participate. I want a true democracy.
I mean, that's one of the things people are like, what are all these protesters pissed off about? I think that is one of the core things, is that we don't have a democracy that represents the people. We don't have a voice, but the corporations sure do. And I think if anything, this is, people power trying to get a voice and trying to get our grievances heard. I mean, there are a whole bunch of, interrelated issues, that come up, but I think that's kind of one of the core issues that we need to be heard.
Isn't the Glass-Steagall Act the act that protected us after the Great Depression?
Yes, it separated the work of commercial banks from investment banks, and that was repealed in the 90s by 3 Republican senators, and which has allowed now the investment banks to basically gamble and speculate with the assets of the rest of us. So the foreclosure crisis was not created by people just buying houses that were more expensive or too expensive for them. It was the investment banks bundling those mortgages, gambling with them, and betting against them, all sorts of manipulative acts which caused the crisis, and the rest of us are paying for it. So one of the moves we'd like to ask for is to reinstate Glass-Steagall Act, which protected us from the speculative crimes of Wall Street.
All these tax breaks and still no job. Go figure.
What do you think of the Wall Street connection?
I don't have enough information to really make a clear-cut call, but they seem to be the scapegoat du jour.
It's ambiguous. Is it need or is it greed? Or is it both? Or does greed engender need? The question is up to you.
Okay.
I'm just irritated as all hell that the whole financial debacle is a result of regulatory bodies not doing their job and keeping an eye on things. And in the last 3 years, nothing has happened in that regard. So the only thing to do is get out here and show them we care.
This is what democracy looks like.
Well, I just think that it's important that we go to the streets and we see each other and we connect and we look into each other's eyes and we say, this is how I care about this whole thing. What's happening for you? And just listen to each other and be together and feel empowered and inspired from that. And then who knows what will unfold from there. We don't know. But something will emerge from this, something wonderful that has to do with life and love and heart and compassion, not about corporations and power over and domination and all that stuff that has a full and complete reign. I think things are shifting. I think it is going to be the era of the heart, the era of compassion, and I think that our capacity to love and to connect and be community is what this next time period is going to be about. Exploring it, creating it, living it, being it.
I will say that I have been waiting for this to get on the streets for a very long time, just for this. And the bottom line for me, the bottom line for me is that until we get money out of politics, that's the tipping point right there. That's the place to target.
Thanks so much.
Are not people. Corporations are not people. Are not people. Corporations are not people. Corporations are not people. Corporations are not people.
So what's the corporate connection to this movement?
Well, the corporate connection is that the United States is moving toward fascism. You may recall, those who know their history know that Italy between 1922 and 1943 under Mussolini was called the corporate state. It was called the corporate state because the corporations were the main factor in running the Italian government. And unfortunately, in the United States, with corporations viewed as being people, corporations have acquired all of the rights, but none of the responsibilities of real citizens.
So what about the Citizens United decision? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am, and I think it's crazy. It's not good. It further enables money to dominate American politics, and American politics is already dominated by money. I think I read recently that only almost nobody in Congress is less than a millionaire these days. I'm not sure of the exact figures, but it's hard for millionaires to adequately represent working people.
Retired and I volunteer at a school, and for the last 2 years I've been with the greatest teacher, Rachel Block. She got let go, and the children are suffering. We're robbing our children, we're throwing them under the bus, and we need to stop this corporate greed. We need to invest in people, and we need to get our moral compass back. It's just we've lost our course, and the people need to take hold of this country, and people especially of faith. I call all people of faith to find your roots and to not hang in with the money changers, to support the least of these, to be advocates for them, to speak out boldly on behalf of those that have no voice.